in KIMS, Bangalore. Welcome, Dr. Sudarshan. We have with us Dr. D.H. Aswath Narayana, President of Association for Prevention and Control of Rabies in India. We also have Dr. Umesh Kumar Bharti, State Epidemiologist, State Institute of Health and Family Welfare from Simla. We have with us Dr. Jugal Kishore, Director, Professor and Head of Community Medicine in Vardhaman Mahavir Medical College in New Delhi. We also have Dr. Sumit Podar, General Secretary of Association for Prevention and Control of Rabies in India, and Mr. Vishwanath Swaroop, Chief Operating Officer of Bharat Serums and Vaccines Limited. Before we begin our discussions today, I would request our online viewers to do send their questions on the comment box. We will try to get them answered during the day from the experts. And also do not forget to share this live program on your wall to help this information reach to your friends and followers. And at the very beginning of our program, I would like to first welcome all our esteemed guests and panelists who spared their time to come together to help us spread more awareness on rabies. But before we start our conversation, I would request Mr. Vishwanath Swaroop from Bharat Serums and Vaccines Limited for his opening remark and also to share with us his organization's vision towards rabies-free India. Mr. Swaroop. You are on mute, I think. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Kamal. And thank you once again. I think this is a very noble cause. And I feel very proud to be a part of this August group over here. Starting with, of course, Dr. Sudarshan, Dr. Narayan, Dr. Kishore, Dr. Podar, and Dr. Bharti. A heartfelt thank you to you for taking time out for this important cause and important discussion today. Really, this is very, very helpful, and I appreciate you taking the time to discuss this with us. Now, taking a step back, of course, we talk about rabies, and while Kamal stressed that it's a very preventable disease, we also know it is one of the most neglected tropical diseases. And with over 80% of the impact in the most vulnerable, the poor section of the society. And hence it's a double cause of concern for us. Another thing which is concerned is 40%, and I'm just putting out some numbers so that we can understand the magnitude of the issue for the audience and not for my fellow panelists because they know this better than I do. 40% of the people bitten are children under the age of 15, which again is a vulnerable section. And unfortunately, about 36% of the world's rabies deaths happen in our own India, our own country. And these are causes of concern for us. This leads to, education and awareness. Education around the treatment that is available, education around the response that we need to give. We at Bharat Serum are clearly going to get committed to this cause and work with stalwarts like yourself to help drive the awareness, the workshops required for administration, and actually enabling the frontline people to fight this very preventable disease that we are dealing with. We are committed, and as an example, you would see the partnership that we are establishing and continuing with IHW, and more importantly, APCRI, I think will show our commitment towards this cause. So I'm very happy and I'm extremely proud to be part of this panel over here. So thank you, Kamal. I wish for a very thorough discussion today with some clear actionables coming out, which will really help us serve this most vulnerable section of the society a lot better. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vishwanath, for your, setting this whole agenda and, highlighting that how this though it is preventable, but is highly neglected disease, which we can very easily try to reduce the burden of it in our country. So let me now go directly to Dr. M.K. Sudarshan, who is kind of uh, the most important figure in this whole fight against rabies. So, Dr. Sudarshan, you founded APCRI in 1998 with a vision to make India rabies-free by 2020, and we have reached that milestone in terms of time. Could you describe this journey for our viewers and where we have reached in terms of rabies elimination, and what did work during this time and what did not, as we still have quite a substantial burden of rabies in our country?
Thank you, Mr. Kamal Narayan, for a good overview and a nice introduction to the webinar, and also for introducing me to the group. I also take this opportunity to thank VSVL and Mr. Vishwanath Swarup. Now, coming to the topic, way back in 1998, when a group of medical professionals, we assembled in Bangkok over a Indian dinner, squatting on the floor. After a morning visit to a anti-rabies hospital there in Bangkok, we had a very informal discussion, and the main point of focus was rabies is a neglected disease, and there is no focus for this neglected disease in India. So we considered important that just like there are disease-specific scientific societies, we thought this neglected disease should get the due attention from the society and from the government. We decided to establish a scientific society, and it was named APCRI, and I was asked to head the society and do all the formalities in the Indian law. So this is the background. And then, of course, the society was established, and then it was registered under the Societies Registration Act, and so on and so forth. The main purpose of this society is it is a scientific society, and its main objectives are to support government and also organize training programs, ensure or conduct public awareness, and conduct research, and also support government service, provide consultancy and advocacy. So in this context, initially it was founded with some 20 odd members, and today it is over 900 professionals. There is a membership criteria, so they have to fulfill that to get registered as a member. Now, when we founded in 1998, we considered that 2020 will be something worthwhile to have it as a goal post, with a goal of ensuring a rabies-free India. But we have not been able to do it. Let me be very frank, and we will move the goal post by 10 years ahead. We'll do that. Whether it is smallpox, whether it is polio, whether it is guinea worm, all these diseases, when they were taken up for elimination, the goal post was moved. We are all aware of it. Now, the main contribution of APCRI is when government was not able to do it. Let me be very honest, it is record. we conducted the first national multicentric rabies survey in 2003, when no country had ever conducted a national level rabies epidemiological survey to assess the burden of rabies. And please note, India is a country of countries. Every state, in a way, is of the size and the population of a country, European country, or even other countries. So, and we are a very complex society. Like rabies, biologicals procurements is with the states, whereas the programs comes from the center now. So there are various issues. So 2003, we conducted the survey, we gave the baseline figure of 20,000 human rabies deaths. That remains an official figure even today, which is not true in the ground reality. So then, of course, we have conducted another national multicentric rabies survey in 2017, and both these surveys were with the WHO assistance and with the approval of Government of India. The reports are there at the website, and the reports are widely circulated, published, and all. We have also been conducting professional training in the form of national conferences, regional meetings, and so on. And we have also been conducting public awareness campaigns, more so after the World Rabies Day from 2007. So, and APCRI, we represented personally to then Union Health Minister Sri Shatrughan Sinha ji in 2002. And as a follow-up of that memorandum, sheep brain vaccine was removed and intradermal rabies vaccination was introduced. So this is in the knowledge of all those who know from close quarters, and it is on record. So these are some of the things we have done, but as it is a zoonotic disease, the spillover is from animal to man. So we need a One Health approach, and we need a combined coordinated approach. And this year's World Rabies Day message is vaccinate, collaborate to end rabies. And I think we have joined hands today under the banner of BSVL to promote this motto. And of course, APCRI will continue to support the central government and the state governments and the local municipal governments in all their endeavors in prevention and control of rabies in India. I conclude here. I will not take more time than that is given to me. Thank you very much for the opportunity. It is back to Mr. Kamal Narayan. Over.
Thank you, Dr. Sudarshan, for highlighting the journey, which was which actually got a lot of milestones, including your the two surveys which were conducted and brought together some of the most credible data. Let me go to Dr. Aswath Narayan now. Since Dr. Narayan, you are now heading this APCRI, and as Dr. Sudarshan said, that it has been almost now 22 years of efforts, which saw a lot of achievements, but at the same time also had to kind of delay or post kind of put this goal post 10 years away. Now, what is, as per you, is lacking in India when it comes to achieving the dream or the vision of rabies free, or the goal of making it rabies free? Is it the public awareness which is the major issue, or it is the government priority that this something which is preventable continues to be an endemic in our country? Dr. Narayan. Dr. Narayan, you are on mute, I think. Can you? Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Good morning to all of you. And first of all, I'd like to thank Bharat Serums and Vaccines Limited for organizing this national webinar on the occasion of 14th World Rabies Day, and also thank my professional colleagues in the APCRI and all other experts across the country. As in continuation of what Professor Sudarshan said, that the main objectives of APCRI was mainly to create awareness both among public and professionals. And second one is training, both for medical and veterinary. We conducted a lot of training programs from last 22 years across the country. And a third very important component is which I'm going to touch upon. I have got a set of slides. I'm going to make a presentation on that. So it is advocacy. How we could able to do advocacy and make some impact, some movement in the country. And the fourth one is research in terms of projects and surveys, which Dr. Sudarshan said. We did 3 big projects from APCRI. If I can share my slides, it will be much more helpful to the...
Certainly, sir, but I would request to keep it brief.
Yeah.
Okay.
So these are some of the efforts of APCRI towards making this country zero by 2030. So this Sudarshan already in brief has told about the vision of APCRI to make India rabies free by 2030, postponing the date by another 10 years in confer with the global goal. And these are some of the important aims and objectives which we revised it after 2020, which we could not. So to re-estimate the burden of rabies in India and support rabies surveillance in humans, to work for an effective control of rabies in dogs, to ensure life-saving rabies post-exposure prophylaxis free for all, and to conduct training programs and campaigns and produce and disseminate educational material for medical, veterinary, and other professions, and also for lay people on rabies, to work in liaison with governments and non-government organizations for prevention and control of rabies, and to offer consultancy, professional advisory services, and play advocacy role to the government and non-governmental organizations. So these are some of the activities which I just inform you. So as Sudarshan said, we have more than 900 members across the country, both medical, veterinary, others, both from government and private organizations. And we conduct annual national conferences. So far, we have conducted 21 annual national conferences, and it is mainly to disseminate and share the information about rabies across the country. And the participants and the speakers were both from within the country and abroad. Even from WHO experts all have attended our conferences regularly. And another important thing is to disseminate the scientific details. We have this APCRI journal, which is an indexed peer-reviewed journal, which is brought out twice a year and is available on our website. And we also have a newsletter to showcase our activities, other activities regularly. So going back to what Professor Sudarshan and you mentioned is WHO funded 2 surveys with the technical and operational support of WHO. The first survey, which gave a figure of 20,000 human deaths and 17.4 million deaths, was done way back in 2003-04. But there is a need for resurvey. In this light, we have urged the government of India through our memorandum after 2018 Delhi conference, where we organized in Delhi with the help of Dr. Jugal Kishore. And we submitted a memorandum to then Union Health Minister Sri J.P. Naddaji to carry forward the recommendations. So I will come to that in my last slide. And the second project which we did, recent one, it was about programmatic experiences on rabies control. This study was required for Gavi, WHO and the Gavi Expense. These are all on the website of APCRI. Many publications were made out, scientific publications were made out of this report. Then there's another project which we did in Jamshedpur with the help of Tata Foundation by APCRI, and we did publish many of the articles. When you talk about the awareness, one of the important target group is the school children. We produce a video on rabies for school children, which is uploaded on the YouTube. So it is there for everyone to see. And our APCRI members are part of many WHO expert consultations, Government of India programs, and we conduct innumerable country medical education, country veterinary programs, symposia, lectures, trainings across the country. And we've been organizing this World Rabies Day from 2007 till date. And APCRA played a major pivotal role in stopping nerve tissue vaccine, the sheep brain vaccine, and introducing intradermal rabies vaccination in the country by meeting then Union Health Minister Sri Shatrugna Sinha. And we also developed a lot of slides, and then we conduct a lot of activities. Mainly, one of the important things is regarding the PEP advocacy with the help of IAP. We could able to convince IAP to consider rabies vaccinations as one of the optional vaccines. And one of the important research that we wanted to do from APCRI, but for COVID pandemic, we have to postpone this. But we want, already proposal is there. So to confer with the government of WHO recommendations, we want to study this in multicentric studies. And this is the memorandum submitted to Sri J.P. Nadda ji on 23rd July 2018, soon after our Delhi conference. So the main experts of this memorandum is APCRI requested Government of India to convene National Expert Consultation Meeting by NCDC Delhi to adopt a new WHO recommendation of shortening the post-exposure prophylaxis to 1 week, and also injecting the only immunoglobulins, not wasting the immunoglobulin. So after that, the NCDC convened the National Expert Consultation in January 2019, and the national guidelines have come. The second part was, we again urged the Government of India to reassess the rabies burden. As I said, ICMR is already at that. Because of the COVID pandemic, they are not able to do it. But maybe soon after COVID pandemic, we may have got a reassessment of the burden, including rabies deaths and also animal bite cases. So this is already there. The other important thing is, we urged the Government of India to strengthen National Rabies Control Program implemented by NCDC, Government of India, so that it will be a front runner, very important for making this country rabies free. So already Government of India has strengthened the NCDC, the rabies focal point, and also strengthened NRCP, and also they started a national action plan for rabies elimination. The another important component was what Professor Sudarshan said, that each and every India is a country of countries. India is a country of countries. So the states within the country are not having the sufficient rabies immunoglobulins or the vaccines because of a lot of other factors, maybe not availability or non-affordability, or the government is not able to purchase or prioritize their purchase for rabies biologicals. So we urge the Government of India, just like a universal immunization program, the government has to purchase and supply it to the state governments. So this is a very important step if you want to make this country rabies zero by 2030. So another important one is
Dr. Narayan.
Last one.
Sure.
So the APCR also requested Government of India to have a national rabies vaccination policy for humans, and we have submitted the background policy which we developed out of a WHO APCR project. So in essence, we APCRI is involved in awareness programs, advocacy, training programs, and research towards the goal of zero by 2030. Thank you, sir.
Dr. Narayan, you mentioned about this, recommendation for the government to purchase the vaccine, and so that it is, it is available for the people who need it, and then we can reach the goal of this free. What is the problem in that? Is the government not purchasing enough vaccine? Is it not available in the places where it should be?
Most important part is rabies in some states is not a priority. Priority is a MCH, tuberculosis. But once the Government of India, in line with the global mandate goal of zero rabies by 2030, so it is a responsibility of the Union government to see to it the rabies biologicals, the life-saving. This is because rabies is 100% fatal. It's a responsibility of the Union government to see to it the states get enough supply of vaccines and immunoglobulins, life-saving immunoglobulins, so that it reaches the common man. So because what we are seeing is the availability, affordability is a big issue in all our states.
Thank you so much, Dr. Narayan. And one important thing I would like to commend you for doing that. The kind of work you mentioned, that you are trying to educate children, and especially school children. And as Mr. Vishwanath also highlighted, that 40% cases are happening among the children under 15. 15 years of age. So I think that is a very important step which your association is taking. ISW Council also believes in that if we want to bring in that health behavior among our people, fixing it with children, and making our children be more compliant to healthy behavior, prevent diseases, try to ensure a healthy lifestyle. I think that is one major thing which can help. So thank you so much for that. Since you mentioned about the states not having the priority on eliminating or reducing rabies, we have Dr. Umesh Kumar Bharti, who represent the government of Himachal Pradesh. Dr. Bharti, what are the various program state is undertaking or is undertaking under the government of India's direction to eliminate or reduce the cases of vaccine, and are effectively the availability of vaccine is there in the areas where it need? What is the status of Himachal Pradesh in that case? And do we also have trained workforce at the primary healthcare level, or the other the initial or the first touch points of healthcare where these cases are first reported? Dr. Bharti.
Good morning to everyone, and thank you for organizing this discussion. I think this is very important. I came to this grim reality of rabies when I was a clinician at DDU hospital. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
So there I saw people dying because they cannot purchase the vaccine. No? So rabies was just a neglected this thing, as it is in many states. So we thought to focus on this and empower the last man in the village. And for that, we thought of starting intradermal vaccination in Himachal. And for that, we went to Nimhans, and we are thankful to Dr. Sudarshan and Dr. Ashwath Narayan for training 3 doctors. And then while coming back from there, we started a first intradermal anti-rabies clinic of, you can say, maybe northwestern India. So from there, we took many initiatives. We tried to focus on to the government authorities that this is a cheaper method, and you should try to give vaccine free to the people at least. So slowly in 2010, Himachal government made it free, because now the expenditure was instead of around 2,250 rupees per person, it was rather 350 rupees. And that we did by doing a pooling strategy. People used to come on one centralized place, and then we used to share the vials. So that's how slowly we sensitized the government through associations. And at the same time, we tried to train our manpower unofficially, because for rabies, there was no budget. So whenever some resource person is not coming for training, so we would pitch in and start training doctors or whatever paramedical force is there. And then in 2010, we established a proper demonstration clinic in DDU hospital that was called a State Anti-Rabies Clinic and Research Center. That was inaugurated by mission director, our mission director, Mr. Rakesh Kumar. And that's how we tried to integrate the administration and making them understand that cheaper options are available that can be made free to the poor people. So poor people from, you can imagine, from other districts, say 150 kilometers away from our clinic, our DDU hospital, used to come here for vaccination, stay here for 28 days with some their neighbors, and then complete the course and then go back. So this was a story that also raised the prophylaxis, and overall vaccination coverage was very, maybe 3.2 times, and poor patient coverage to around four times. So, and then we started realizing that rabies death is now coming down. So that was very encouraging thing. and that the results were shared with the secretary and with the government. And Himachal story is very interesting. In 2014, when we saw people are getting free vaccination, and but still they are dying because immunoglobulin was not available. So we innovated this method of local wound infiltration only without giving systemic immunoglobulins, and that again sensitized the government, and then both biologicals are free. As a result, now we have, instead of 10,000 prophylaxis per year, now we have around 40,000 prophylaxis per year. And death rate has come down from 35 per year to hardly 1 or 2 who due to any misconception don't go to the nearby centers, or maybe they are very, very poor. They don't have even 10 rupees, 20 rupees to go to the nearby. I don't know. So that analysis is still to be done, that who are the 1 or 2 people dying now. So after this COVID, we do that analysis, and then we try to bring it to the knowledge of the government. So I would say trainings, sensitization with the government, and there is no dearth of money. Only thing is we need to sensitize high ups that how we can best utilize the money. And this Himachal model has really, I would say that it has become a different model. Like WHO says, control rabies through One Health, by immunizing dogs. We tried that, with veterinary doctors, but we could not succeed. So at least we have done this through human empowerment, through free vaccination of human beings. You can imagine the dog bite has raised 4 times, like I told you, 10,000 prophylaxis to 40,000 prophylaxis. So I would say now NCDC has taken a very good initiative. National Action Plan for Rabies Control is a very good initiative from the NCDC, whereas both veterinary side, human side, environmental side, municipalities, all have joined hand, and I am very hopeful that is the instrument that may lead us to effectively control rabies by 2030. Thank you.
Dr. Bharti, thank you so much. So you are saying that under the Himachal model, with the free availability of vaccines and also later on immunoglobulins, though despite that the bite cases have increased from 10,000 to 40,000, yes, we have been able to reduce the deaths from 35 to 1 or 2, you are saying now.
Yes.
Is it the?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Great. Yeah. So thank you so much, Dr. Bharti, for highlighting this, and I think this is a very encouraging story, and I'm sure that many other states, as you said, that there is no dearth of money and the budgets, though there are no separate rabies budget, as you said, but there are certainly, if the priority is set, these kind of problems can be reduced, as your state did. Let me go to now Dr. Jugal Kishore. Dr. Jugal Kishore, so you are in Delhi, and in city like Delhi, aside to where we see, and this is a little bit of a question which our audience may be able to relate a little more. We see a very popular pet culture in metros and in city like Delhi, and we are also seeing increase in the number of stray dogs around us. At the same time, we have higher density of population, which can also lead to more man-animal relationship which are strained, or some tension between that. What is your experience in terms of dog bite, and what kind of trend you see in city like Delhi? Timely and effectively people seek remedy or the medical care after the dog bite.
Thank you, Kamal. Thank you for giving this opportunity, and also to APCRI, who is always giving value to our Safdarjung Hospital and our department. This is a very important question. You rightly said that it's related to all the metro cities where the culture of keeping the dogs and cat is increasing day by day, and to some extent good also, because in the absence of human contact, although we are in a crowd, but we don't have very good connection between the human to human. So other animal which are very close to human is a dog and cat. And they are always there is a history and human history which is associated. But this interaction is also leading to a problem, and that problem is actually the bite. And bite is not always because of the, because of the irritation or say the anger created to, but sometimes unintentional bite is also there in houses. And then it leads to some kind of, anxiety among the keeper of the dogs. But when you say about how many dogs bite are there, when we talk about Delhi, the data is, very sketchy. And whatever data is available of the MCD, I can just quote what the MCD is giving. We have the 3 municipal corporation, and combining of 3, they say that 123 cases of dog bite every day. And that leads to 1.5 lakhs cases per year. And they have divided that it could be because of, we have the North Corporation, which is almost having having the 64,000 cases, and 30,000 in South Corporation, and East Corporation is 55,000. This is the 2017 data. But I do not agree with this, because the one simple example is our OPD, the Safdarjung OPD. Every day we are getting 300 cases. So it cannot be 123 cases per day.
You get 300 cases. You get 300 cases of dog bite in Safdarjung OPD only per day.
Only per day. So 300 cases, 300 to 400 cases per day. We are getting one individual hospital. So if you take the whole Delhi, then it would be much higher. So just saying that 123 cases is not a correct, So the data which is given by the government is not correct. We require a lot of corrections and, collection of the data, and lot of surveys are required, regular surveys. And as previous speaker has also said, that if we can merge with the some kind of data on bite and bite of the cat and dog, or maybe the animal bite would be made available. So we have the fair chances of estimating how much problem is there. But what is most important is that we have the acceptance by the municipal corporation that the anti-rabies vaccine shortage is there in municipal corporation. And in most of the hospital, the vaccine is not available. And that is why most probably most of the patients are coming to Safdarjung and RML hospital, because the central government is providing the vaccine. That is why, they're coming to that. But we have, every day the clinic of 600 to 800, that is the average, because we have the new cases and also, the follow-up visits. So every day we have huge number. And that is why we want to have our clinic to be the national, model center, where we can have a lot of research and, a lot of experimentations, if it is possible. You rightly said that actually the health-seeking behavior of the dog bites and, the cat bite is very interesting. In some areas where, they are stay bite, then the patient have a mixed approach. They apply the local remedies, which we have done. One study in our South Delhi, the rural area where the monkey bite is quite high. And even in monkey bite, they just apply turmeric, and even sometimes they do not wash the wound, the herbal and lime. So many preparations are there which they are applying on the bite. So that kind of behavior is very dangerous. So we require a lot of awareness in our peripheral Delhi. So the rural areas and most remote areas, this is a big problem, and we require improvement of their behavior. The first they come to the, our dispensaries. In Delhi, we have the, dispensaries, the Delhi government and also the MCD dispensaries. and the first is given there, and then after that they are sent to the hospital where the rabies anti-rabies vaccine is given. But the problem for last, I think 2-3 years, we are getting problem of not having the anti-rabies vaccine. That is why people are getting from outside, or erratic, or say not completing the schedule is quite high. Because if you're getting the vaccine from outside, then the parents are able to buy one time or two times, not all the times. So that is a problem. And the private practitioners are giving intramuscular. They are not giving intradermal because it's a 1-to-1 case, and they are not getting a lot many. So intradermal is not possible, and they are not also trained into that intradermal. Their training of the washing is also not there, and they're afraid of handling the anti-rabies cases. Vaccination. So these are all important aspects which are again and again telling that all the medical colleges should come forward and should take up this call of dog-mediated rabies free in 2030. It's only possible when every medical college join head together and central government give emphasis on this issue. Then most probably we can definitely improve our services to this. So that is what I want to say.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jugal Kishore, and it's a very startling facts you are putting forward, and there's a massive difference what is being reported officially and what you are mentioning here. Around 300 to 400 new cases being reported at one hospital in Delhi. It's a big number. Dr. Sumit, now I'll come to you, and I will also request my viewers today that over the next 3-4 hours we are going to have several experts, and so do stay with us to understand some of the very basics aspects of how to respond to when you come across a dog bite. What are the precautions? This session is more towards a policy oriented session, so we are not going to the very basic details. We will definitely try to include those basic details as some kind of tips for the people at the closer of it. So let me go to Dr. Sumit Poddar now. Dr. Poddar, as Dr. Jugal Kishore also said that MCD is reporting, let's say, around 123 cases per day, which is 400, which he's saying. APCRI, with which you are associated, has done studies. 2017 also a study was done. Are you is it the data which we have is say that 20,000 deaths India is seeing, which is 36% of the global death burden, and then we are seeing the kind of numbers of cases we are seeing. Is it what is your opinion? Are we having the right data, or there is some kind of a lot of unreported, underreported data as well, which we don't know, and people may not be reaching to the right place after the dog bite, so it is not reported? And let's say this is the situation in city like Delhi. What about the whole rural and the semi-urban areas? So what do you see in terms of the epidemiology of this disease?
Yes. Good morning, everybody. That is the only thing coming to the picture. You have pointed out the right thing, that whether it is reported properly or over-reported, whatever you say. There is no question of over-reported, but to me, it is definitely all the reports we are not getting. In the year of 2004, under the dynamic leadership of Professor Sudarshan, the study was done where we have seen 20,847 cases. So the figure was apparently like this. The global death was 59,000. The death in Asia was 35,172 number, and death in India was 20,847. That was the figure. Now we have there are also other factors. Also, we have also seen that there is 17 million of dogs, more than 17 millions of dog bites, and also 28 millions of dogs. These figures is not, I don't think that this can be accurate, because all the dogs are not licensed or registered. So there may be more number of dogs. Now the thing is this, after doing this study, again second study was done in 2017, again by the leadership of Dr. Sudarshan and also Dr. Ashwatharan, our APCRI entire team. Now, where we have seen that the dog bite incidence is there, the more patients are reporting for the vaccines and rabies immunoglobulin if they need it. And this figure has come down. We are assuming this is near about round about 10,000 or something like that. That is the death rate. Now, so these are the proper figure for which we need another survey. Another proper survey, multicentric study that is needed. And what APCRI is
you
doing?
Are estimating,
yes.
You are
yes,
estimating that now it is 10,000 deaths, not 20,000.
Yes, not 20,000, not at all 20,000. Because if you go through, from my center, I can tell you, closely associated with the ID hospital, where we have seen at one time there is 300 deaths. Now we have seen the last year also, it is 31 deaths per year. So the definitely death rate has come down. Awareness has increased amongst the doctors and everything. The problem is there. Problem is the doctors, they are not infiltrating properly. The mechanism of infiltration is needed. That means whenever you are infiltrating in the wound, you must go through the base of the wound. And all wounds to be infiltrated. No wound could be kept open. That is the thing. So that you'll be able to avoid the treatment-related failure. So these things are lacking still, and APCRI is instrumental under the dynamic leadership of everybody. And this APCRI will definitely conduct the CMEs, and of course with your help and your support, APCRI already is doing. In my Calcutta, I can tell you, they are doing a tremendous work, and they are also conducting. They have helped me so many times for school program, awareness program. We want in such a day when the patient will come, patient will say that, doctor, this is category 3 bite, so I need immunoglobulin. That is, we want the patient, these type of lessons should be implanted in their mind. So that is important thing. Another important thing I can tell you, there is no substitute of equine rabies immunoglobulin till in our country. There is a population of 135 crores. Naturally, nobody will be able to afford, unless sponsored 100% by the government, who will be afford to take another immunoglobulin, monoclonals, and all these things, because these are good, but these are costly. But equine rabies immunoglobulin is really today what they are supplying. There's a least cost. There's a least cost. Number second thing, it is. I have in my practice, I have seen only few cases of reactions. But today, due to the absence of the FAB2 component, it is again free. So there is no substitute for equine rabies immunoglobulin. And one thing I must mention regarding the usage of human rabies immunoglobulin, it is fantastic still now. If I am being bitten by a dog, I will say definitely to me, please give me our human rabies immunoglobulin. There is not a single case of failure reported. It is a time-tested thing. And so still now, I consider it is one of the best in our management of the dog bite cases. So these are the important relations, important issues. Another important issue, kindly two things I have noticed, that is the cost of your human rabies immunoglobulin. And I will request, please take it an issue so that you can reduce the cost. Second thing, in our equine rabies immunoglobulin, the product monograph, there is still 50% locally, 50% is gluteally. So this concept, you will have to change it immediately, because there is no role for infiltrating in the muscle, because these are ready-made antibodies. It will neutralize the virus at the site of the entry. So I request you kindly to remove this product monograph, reprint it, and supply it. It will help a lot for the doctors. The doctors you are supplying this immunoglobulin, they will be able to understand. And we seek your, already you are participating and in our many programs, and definitely we seek definitely for the elimination of a fruitful vision of a rabies-free, dog-mediated rabies-free country by 2030. Each and everybody's support are needed. And APCRI is instrumental. APCRI has formed with these objectives, and I'm sure this APCRI will be able to reach the target with your cooperation, with your help. This is, I can tell only, and government is also doing definitely in a National Rabies Control Program, and Dr. Jugal Kishore is there in Delhi, Umesh ji is there, Gohil is there, and also this is for your kind information that in Calcutta we have set out certain centers, additional centers from KMC, like or from South Damdam municipality, Gautam Circle is there. He is also working. So with the what coordinated approach, with all will be able to remove at least this burden. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Poddar. So, we are also kind of getting closer to the end of this program. So let me take Mr. Vishwanath on this. And Mr. Vishwanath, since your company is into vaccine development and production, and I begin by recalling that, the usual warning of our at our homes that, if you get a dog bite, you will be getting 14 injections. I still remember I got twice a dog bite. Once it was a pet, so the owner, kind of assured that it is already vaccinated, so I did not get vaccine. And the other time it was a stray. So what is the, is it the same kind of regimen now, or what kind of, advancement has come in terms of vaccination of, rabies, and, how affordable they are, how accessible they are, for the people now, or is it available in the government centers or, at the public health primary level centers?
So I think, Kamal, we all grew up with these stories of 14 injections. I think it's kind of imprinted in everybody's head. Let me tell you something, and I'm taking this liberty with the expert panel over here who knows the subject. I think a lot of development has happened, right? And now really you're into, the immunoglobulins that we're talking about, and which was touched upon by almost every expert who talked about it. I think the technique has become a lot more easier and friendlier for the patients, right? You don't have to go through that regimen, etc. And the development of the product has happened there. There's also, I think, Dr. Poddar mentioned, really there's no substitute for the equine product that we have, right? And essentially, that brings the cost overall down, significant reduction in cost. Now, there are still two challenges, Kamal, which remain in my mind. And you kind of ask these in these questions of your layered questions, right? Is it available? Is it affordable, etc.? I think it's quite affordable at the levels that we have brought it down to. But is there room to bring more affordability? The answer in a country like India can always be yes. The government is also making this a priority and pushing this, but again, long ways to go. I was happy to hear that the rate is actually lower than what was initially estimated. You don't see that in many areas, and it shows to the work which has happened, led by APCRI for sure. In terms of awareness and availability, these two A's, I would say, Kamal, are still the ways to go. I think in a lot of our centers that we see, in a place like Mumbai and Delhi, where we are talking about, or Calcutta, I think these are the best served cities that we have, right? But as you go deeper in our smaller towns, in the ex-urban market, I think that's where really the availability and awareness about this is the real challenge. And I think that's where we are looking to partner and really make a difference, a sizable difference of saying how can we actually serve that area to, one, make the product available, and of course they'll require policy interventions from the government to drive that procurement availability in the smaller CHCs, PHCs. Secondly, I would say is about making sure the awareness drives are there, and that's where we are talking about. I think Dr. Poddar talked about the infiltration techniques, right? And that is one of the major pushes we will try to bring in terms of training and creating those workshops and creating those skills, because the product is there, availability is there. Now, the third angle is the technique to deliver it. I think these three areas we are looking to partner with and drive significant improvement in these areas. So that's what I would say. It's more kind of, we have the product, now it's about making it available, making it accessible, availability, awareness, and the technique. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Swaroop. So here we reach at 12 o'clock and we have completed 1 hour of our discussion, and the next set of, our panelist and also moderator, Dr. Sanjeev Kumar, is ready to take this discussion further, go more, in detail about the treatments available, the precautions which need to be needed, the role of multi-stakeholders, the government. But I would like to just, quickly summarize, and sorry, I'm not going into the second round of question answer for the sake of time. But to quickly summarize that what we, heard in this first session is that rabies is definitely a public health concern. It is neglected. It is killing a lot of people. Dr. Poddar said that instead of 20,000 plus people who were reported to be, dying in the 2017 survey, it might have come down to 10,000. That is again, keeping in mind that the kind of numbers Dr. Jugal Kishore is also sharing. It is also a possibility that in a country like ours, many people may not be going to hospitals or clinics after the dog bite, or maybe just resorting to, the home-based remedies, which is definitely not to be done in the case of rabies, which is 100% fatal. There are good models, as Himachal Pradesh, we got to hear that how substantially they reduce the number by sensitizing the government, by sensitizing the stakeholders, ensuring that both vaccine and immunoglobulins are available free of cost for the people. And despite increasing in a massive increase in the number of dog bites, which is possible, as Dr. Jugal Kishore has also mentioned, that it is not necessarily that always it will be because of the man-animal tension. It may happen, in the usual course of life also. There has been a much lesser death being reported. So with this, what I think as a silver line, that there are advancement. The vaccine is getting advanced. It is getting affordable. Government are kind of getting more sensitized. They are putting it on priority. WHO demands for zero vaccine by 2030, zero rabies by 2030. And I'm sure with all this, multi-stakeholder, with all collective efforts and with the more awareness among the public, we will be able to reach to this objective of having zero rabies by the year 2030, and probably possible with the effort of all people who are working in this direction. Maybe before that, we have seen that some of the diseases we have, either achieved it before the designated time frame, or are reaching to achieve that. TB is one thing which the government of India is now saying that they will be able to achieve this much before the designated time. So thank you so much, all of you, for your time today to help us spread more awareness on rabies. We will definitely, the points which come out in this session, we will be sharing with the all stakeholders, including the government, to help us bring making India rabies free in the priority. And with this, I would hand it over the session to Dr. Sanjeev Kumar, who is a very senior member and a very veteran in public health policies, and has been consultant to WHO, UNICEF, and many other institutions, and also is the part of our Apex Advisory Board and IHW Council. Dr. Sanjeev Kumar, over to you for the next session on our Rabies Awareness Summit. Thank you so much.
My only submission, I'd have to leave the program today, because I'm having another program. Today is 28th September. Necessarily, I'd have to attend at 12:15, 12:15.
Sure, sir. No problem.
Allow me. Also, I request to Dr. Sudarshan, Mr. Shadu, Dr. Jugal Kishar, Dr. Umesh Bharti, and everybody present here. So kind of you. Thank you very much for allowing me to be. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you for your time. Dr. Sanjeev Kumar, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Kamal. And it was a pleasure to listen to the experts in the first session, and we will carry on from there. Rabies, as we all know, is one of the most lethal but preventable disease known to mankind. And as was mentioned in the previous session, globally, WHO says it kills 59,000 people across 120 countries in the world. About 1/3 of them, that is 20,000 from India alone, but I'm very happy to hear from the panelists in the previous session that that number may be down to 10,000. About 40% of them are children, and 99% of rabies cases are from dog bite. So if we focus on dog bite, that doesn't mean we leave other animal bites which cause rabies. We can make an impact. 28th September is celebrated as World Rabies Day since 2007 with two primary objectives. One is to raise awareness about rabies, and second is to highlight the progress which has been made and see what more we can do to defeat this dreaded disease. Some of you may not be aware that 28th September is the death anniversary of the person who gave us the first rabies vaccine. That is a French microbiologist, Louis Pasteur. And this is today is his 125th death anniversary. So good to commemorate this great scientist, to see what more needs to be done, which he started on the right path for all of us to follow. We have safe animal and human vaccine available to us. What we need is awareness and regular supply of this vaccine so that we can eliminate this dreaded disease. We have evidence. We just listened to Himachal Pradesh, which has been able to reduce number of rabies deaths from 35 to 1 or 2 in a year. We have another model from Jamshedpur, and we have another much talked about model from Goa, which has been able to bring down rabies deaths to 0, from 15 in 2014 to 0 in 2019 by vaccinating dogs. And I'm sure if we reflect on these experiments in India, or maybe you want to look outside India, you can learn lessons, and we will be able to achieve WHO-led goal of reducing rabies deaths to 0 by 2013. Unfortunately, it doesn't receive the priority it needs. In words of a former union minister, Menka Gandhi, rabies is not a priority issue with the government, unfortunately. So efforts like this need to continue to bring it up on the government's priority list. Integrated Health and Wellness Council is a premier think tank and advocacy organization, not-for-profit body which plays its role in highlighting priority issues for policymakers and others to look at. So this webinar organized by them is a step in that direction. And coming to the panel discussion we are going to have now, the theme of this panel is dog bites, awareness, precautions and treatment. And on the panel, we have 4 internationally renowned experts from India. And we will be listening to them. And if it is okay with the panelists, we will go in this order, starting with Dr. Govardhan Meena. We move to Dr. Nisha Sahi. Then we move to Dr. H.K. Gohil. And we end the panel discussion with Dr. Muralidhar Tambe. But if we have time, we will come back to you with your expert inputs. Is that okay with the panelists, that order?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. So we start with Dr. Govardhan Meena, a very senior professional who is renowned for his work in adult immunization, including anti-rabies vaccine. He is a senior professor and family physician and also medical officer in charge of anti-rabies and adult immunization clinic at the renowned SMS Medical College in Jaipur. Over to you, Dr. Meena, for your perspective on what is being done and what more needs to be done. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Sanjay Kumar. Thank you very much. I am Dr. Govardhan Meena, just celebrating World Rabies Day in my OPD with a lot of intern doctors, UG doctors, during corona pandemic with social distancing with my principal and controller of SMS Medical College and various superintendents of the attached group of hospitals of SMS Medical College and hospitals. Rabies is also known as hydrophobia, is an acute viral fatal disease of CNS caused by Lassa virus type 2. It is primarily a zoonotic disease of warm-blooded animals such as dog, cat, jackal, wolf, etc. It is transmitted by rabid dog by lick or by bite on blooded skin. Classical hydrophobia is a long variable incubation period or short period of death due to encephalitis and despite of intensive care. The national data of rabies cases or hydrophobia cases are very less because they are not recorded anywhere in India on IDH infectious disease hospitals because most of them are death during the period between the hospital and their house. Okay, this is a neglected disease. No one can care them. So everyone know कि ये 100% इसमें death होगा तो उनको जैसे कि मरने के लिए छोड़ दिया जाता है. It is only communicable disease which is 100% fatal. 100% fatal. There is no treatment all over the world. It is a medical emergency. No one can deny with the treatment. It is only disease, animal bite is a medical emergency. तो ये actually ये हम चाह रहे हैं कि 2030 तक जो है इसका कंप्लीट जो है इराडिकेशन हो. 1884 से वैक्सीन बनना शुरू हो गया था. लुई पास्चर ने जो है पहले जो है नर्वस टिश्यू वैक्सीन और सेल वैक्सीन जो बनाए हैं यहाँ पे ट्रीटमेंट शुरू हुआ. लेकिन डिस्पाइट दैट ऑल एफर्ट्स इन इंडिया देयर इज अ फ्री मेडिकेशन, फ्री सीरम, फ्री ह्यूमन सीरम, फ्री वैक्सीनेशन, बट देयर आर लॉट ऑफ केसेस दे आर डाई अनटाइमली ड्यू टू रेबीज. In my OPD, every day 40 to 60 new cases of animal blood cases. Most of them are from dog bite, monkey bite, or these are neglected animals such as mangoose bite. You know, all of you know, or I don't know, you know or not know. Mangoose bite is the one of the dangerous bite. If the mangoose bite, there is a 100% death. If the prompt treatment not given in the time. So now I have come to on the treatment part. I think treatment is very important. We decide the animal bite category in first, second, third. In category first, if there is a lick on, there is simple lick and on abraded skin, there is no need of treatment. This is the category 1, 2, and 3 as per the WHO protocol. WHO protocol. Category 1, there is no treatment. Category 2, if there is a minor bite or there is a nibbling on the uncovered skin, then there is we wash totally through soap and water, and only vaccines. We give vaccinations 037 14 28 or 037 28 as the intradermal regime. And if there is a multiple bite on face, upper hand, palm, and various part of the body near to head, then there we can consider category 3rd bite. Category 3rd bite, in case of dog and cat, we can wash the dog and cat for 10 days. Other wild animals, we can't think. We can just give the immunoglobulins. Immunoglobulins are 2 types: rabies, equine immunoglobulins, and human rabies immunoglobulins. And in number 1, equine rabies immunoglobulin, 14 milligram per kg body weight. In according to body weight, we most of the part of the serum given in and around the wound, as well as a human. And the most important of this thing is wound treatment. Wound treatment is very important. India के सभी जो है एंटी रेबीज क्लिनिक है उसके अंदर वुंड ट्रीटमेंट कंप्लीट नहीं किया जाता है। इसका कारण यह है कि अगर जैसे कि जो मेडिकल ऑफिसर जो है जो डॉग बाइट विक्टिम का जो पेशेंट है उसका अटेंडेंट को कहेंगे कि इसको जो पानी और साबुन से धो 10 मिनट तक वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इन केस ऑफ वुंड ट्रीटमेंट। प्रॉम्प्ट और पैरामाउंट इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ वुंड ट्रीटमेंट विल अप्लाई सोप एंड वाटर 15 minutes, irrespective of time, possible within 24 hours or 1 to 3 days. Later, the patient, the dog bite came in the OPD, we will advise for the wound washing. Then apply codeine iodine, and then all the things, antibiotic, anti-tetanus, etc. And avoid the suturing. In most of the anti-rabies clinics or those who are district hospitals, those who are the community health centers or the PSC, there is the doctors, they are not having any awareness about the animal bite cases. तो मैं आपके माध्यम से ये कहना चाहूंगा कि जो भी ट्रीटिंग फिजिशियन हो दूर दराज के इंडिया के में हैं, उनको पेशेंट को ये एडवाइज करना है कि देयर इज नो नीड ऑफ एनी स्टिचिंग. If required stitching, then apply with the immunoglobulin or serum after 3 to 4 days, or only apply stitch sutures. This is very very important. क्योंकि चूंकि वेबिनार है, मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा कि जैसे कि मान लो किसी बच्चे को मुंह पे बाइट किया और जो है कि उन्होंने जो है एक्चुअली पॉलिटिकल विल से जो कि बच्चे के टीके लगाए फेस पे और बच्चे की आफ्टर जो है कि 15 to 17 डेज में डेथ हो गई. तो दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. अवॉइड suturing and from paramount importance of wound washing. If you only wound wash 5 to 10 minutes, then we will prevent rabies 80% of the cases. This is WHO TRS guideline. If you prompt wound washing, then we will prevent rabies 80% of the cases. And then after immunoglobulin and the serum, then we will give the vaccination. Vaccination. These are gyri.
Continue, doctor, please.
We come on the vaccination part. The vaccination part are the 2 types as an intramuscular 0, 3, 7, 14, 28. That is Jaegrig regime. Those who are PSC or there are less than 10% of dog bite per day, they can give the intramuscular regime. Otherwise, those the anti-rabies clinics are having OPD per day more than 10. Allow intradermal vaccination. Intradermal vaccination is the modified thigh regime, modified thigh Red Cross regime, that is 0, 3, 7 and 28. There is only 4 visits, 0.1 ml ID dose on both the deltoid and on the 0, 3, 7 and 28. There is only 4 visits. In case of the Jaegrig regime or in intramuscular regime, there are only 5 visits. And along with immunoglobulins. More important is that along with vaccination, there is very important in category 3rd bite immunoglobulins, either equine rabies immunoglobulin or human rabies immunoglobulin or other rabies shield and the RMAB or this twin rab, etc. Very important is prior to give equine rabies immunoglobulin, there is after sensitivity test. After sensitivity test, if there is now that the serum is very good quality, only 1 to 2% is anaphylactic swab. तो ये एक्चुअली क्या है कि जो पीएससी हेडक्वार्टर के जो डॉक्टर्स है जो ट्रीट करते हैं उनको एक्चुअली ये करना चाहिए कि पेशेंट के फर्स्ट शॉट ऑफ रेबीज वैक्सीन के बाद में एंड प्रॉम्प्ट ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ वुंड वॉशिंग रेफर टू पेशेंट टू नियरेस्ट कम्युनिटी हेल्थ सेंटर और डिस्ट्रिक्ट हेडक्वार्टर. All over India, I think these vaccines and immunoglobulins are freely available. These vaccines and immunoglobulins are freely available in all district headquarters, CSC, and their medical college. You know, every medical college is freely available of the immunoglobulin as well as vaccine. Or one more thing is that कि जो डॉक्टर्स है, ट्रीटिंग फिजिशियन है, जो FRU का जो फर्स्ट जो है जिस वजह से जो बात किया, दिस वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. इफ ही टेक दिस थिंग इज मेडिकल इमरजेंसी. देखिए अपन को शुरू कहां से करना पड़ेगा, फ्रॉम द ग्रास रूट लेवल. और इवन आई से आशा और आंगनवाड़ी कार्यकर्ता, उनको भी अगर अपन को 2030 तक इंडिया को रेबीज फ्री करना है तो जो आंगनवाड़ी कार्यकर्ता और जो आशा जो वर्कर है उनको भी ध्यान देना पड़ेगा कि अगर आपको कुत्ते ने काटा है, अगर आपको किसी एनिमल ने बाइट किया है, तो आप तुरंत जो नियरेस्ट जो है कि पीएससी प्राइमरी हेल्थ सेंटर है उसके डॉक्टर से कंसल्ट करें और उसको प्रॉपरली एडवाइज करें फॉर प्रॉम्प्ट वुंड वॉशिंग. दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. And then those who are doctors, they are sitting in the primary health centers, they refer to the patient for immunoglobulins or serum for the district as well as medical college. Generally, मेरी practice है तकरीबन 27 years of the practice in here in SMS Medical College and Hospital Jaipur. Generally ये देखने में आता है कि पेशेंट की कोई गलती नहीं होती, पेशेंट के अटेंडेंस की कोई गलती नहीं होती है. डॉक्टर्स और जो हेल्थ केयर वर्कर है वो उसको प्रॉपर गाइड नहीं करते. ये जो वेबिनार है इसका एक अवेयरनेस कैंपेन हेल्थ केयर वर्कर्स को ये जाना चाहिए कि अगर डॉग बाइट हुआ है, मल्टीपल डॉग वुंड्स ऑन फेस और अपर हैंड्स और बाय वाइल्ड एनिमल और बाय मतलब अननोन डॉग और बाय अनप्रोवोक्ड बाइट, तो उसको प्रॉपर ट्रीटमेंट लेना है. अगर आपने उसमें अवेयरनेस क्रिएट की, इट मींस आपका डॉक्टर बनना सफल है और वो पेशेंट की जान बचेगी 110%. I have seen 7 to 8 lakh animal bite victims in my lifetime.
Good, doctor. Can you wind up your statement? We have other experts.
Sir.
Go ahead, please.
Sir. तो ये मैं कहना चाहूंगा. और जो दूसरा जो सबसे जो है पैनिक और जो एक बड़ा ही जो है रहता है, जब पेशेंट के रेबीज डेवलप हो जाता है तो वी हेल्थ केयर वर्कर इंक्लूडिंग डॉक्टर, पैरामेडिकल, आशा एंड दे नेग्लेक्ट द पेशेंट. There is district headquarters, there is no proper isolation hospitals. पेशेंट को मरने के लिए छोड़ दिया जाता है. उसको आप जो है एक अच्छा खासा जो 24 आवर्स पहले जो पेशेंट था वो अच्छा खासा था, उसको आप कहते हैं ठीक रेबीज हो गया, नो ट्रीटमेंट. देखिए उसका जो ट्रॉमा है उसको अपन को एक जैसे कि किस तरह से उसको कहना है उसके अटेंडेंट को, उसके बेटर जो हाफ है, उसके जो फैमिली मेंबर्स को किस तरह से कहना है. और मैं तो ये कहूंगा कि हर डिस्ट्रिक्ट हेडक्वार्टर्स पे 4 या 5 बेड के जो है कि एक इंटेंसिव केयर यूनिट होनी चाहिए जिसमें कि जो पेशेंट है जो डॉग बाइट विक्टिम है उसका प्रॉपर ट्रीटमेंट ठीक से हो. दैट्स आई थिंक सर, दैट्स ऑल फ्रॉम माय साइड.
थैंक यू डॉक्टर गोवर्धन मीना. एक्सीलेंट पॉइंट. आपने 4-5 बिंदु बहुत ही आवश्यक उठाए. एक तो आपने ये बिंदु उठाया कि जो घाव का उपचार है वो सबसे अधिक आवश्यक है. विश्व स्वास्थ्य संघ के आंकड़ों के अनुसार 80% रेबीज का प्रिवेंशन, अगर घाव को ठीक से धोया जाए, उसका ठीक से उपचार किया जाए तो रेबीज प्रिवेंट हो जाती है. दूसरा, जल्दी से जल्दी निकटतम अस्पताल या स्वास्थ्य केंद्र जहाँ पे रेबीज के वैक्सीन अवेलेबल है वहां जाएं और आपको सही उपचार मिल सकता है. और आपने बहुत बढ़िया बोला कि ये एक जानलेवा बीमारी है, 100% लोगों को जिनको होती है उनको मारती है, मगर इसका 100% प्रिवेंशन भी उपलब्ध है, इसको 100% बचाया जा सकता है। और वो जो 2 तरीके आपने बताए, घाव का उपचार और समय पे टीका लगाना, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद डॉक्टर साहब, आपने बहुत आवश्यक बिंदु उठाए। नाउ वी कैन मूव टू द नेक्स्ट स्पीकर, डॉक्टर निशा शाही. Dr. Nisha Shahi is another renowned professional working in rabies. She is a senior medical officer and in charge of anti-rabies clinic in Chandigarh. So over to you, Dr. Nisha Shahi.
Good morning, everybody. It's nice listening to Dr. Guruvardhan Meena. He has got a lot of experience in this field. And thank you, Dr. Sanjeev, for the introduction. I'm working as a nodal officer here in Chandigarh, and here I'm posted in this Institute of Anti-Rabies Clinic for the last 5 years. And I've got the opportunity to work with these patients. I'm happy because I got a new field to work. Before that, I was working in rural area and PSC level. And at every point of the time, there is a challenge, Whenever the patient comes, I will just like to go simple, like the number of patients what we are treating in the Chandigarh from the outside Tri-City are around 10,000 to 12,000. And for time being, for the last 5 years, I have not faced much difficulty treating the patients because the main purpose of my life is to bring the awareness and give them the healing touch. This is what I'm doing every day. And the second part is that the availability of the vaccination. Only once upon a time, last year, I faced one problem when the vaccine was not available for 6-7 months here over here in Chandigarh. That time, all the, you can say, the companies, they helped me to procure from the different area of the different areas like Delhi and all, and it was made available over here. So I feel very, because whenever the patient comes over here, my main is that they come with a lot of fear factor because they have got that once we will get rabies, it is untreatable. So that fear factor can be, has to be reduced. And that it all depends upon the teamwork. So we have trained our team, like from the, once the patient enter here, the registration is done because we have to keep the record as such, because this has to be, the whole data goes to the NCDC and that is to the government of the India. So once they come, we must just make them relax that because most of the patient over here, they are coming over here are of like dog bite. So once they enter here, make them relax here. Then we have to categorize where we categorize that. Dr. Meena has very nicely explained that what type of the categories are there. So we main focus is that make them understand what is category 3 and category 2. So there are a lot of questions in their mind that why they are given different injections, because the people standing over there in the queue, somebody is getting the category 2 treatment and category 3. So we make it a point every day we give small lecture, like once in a week, twice in a week to the people, or one-to-one conversation is with them, so that make them understand why we are giving vaccine along with the immunoglobulins in the category 3. So category 3 is very, very important, sir, where my main focus is that immunoglobulins. Once they come on here, I make it a point because people, they read a lot of literature over here in the Google.